Let's just begin with you, Herman Manyora, first of all. Regional government, we've just teased out from the beginning that looking at the current constitution, which does not really accommodate this, where people now who are talking about referendum as well, what will be the ramifications of it? Looking at the cost-benefit analysis of it as it is, Prof says that we shouldn't be really having bugbears and fears about the regional governments as it is right now, because you know, it will just be the lifting of the economic blocks that we have right now, and then shaking into place into the regional government. But the dynamics are very different. What do you think?
When Kenyans were genuine in pursuit of a new constitution that culminated in the Bomas arrangement, regional governments featured prominently, and for good reason. It was felt that one way of dealing with the imperial presidency was to decentralize power. But much more importantly, it was felt that a better way of running this country, especially in terms of development, would be to disperse that to some regions. Now, the question of how many of these centers was a very tricky question. But by consensus, and I think by common sense, it was agreed that we would have the old provinces form the regions. But because by their own configuration, some of these provinces were either too large compared to others like Rift Valley, or there are certain ethnic arrangements that you needed to take into consideration. For that reason, people were moving between 12 and 14. You would have divided Rift Valley maybe into 3. North Rift and things, Central Rift and something like that. And some people are feeling Nyanza again because of the community interests. You would need perhaps to give the Kisii and the Kuria a county and stuff like that. So they were coming beyond the original 8. But the reality on the ground, especially during the Bomas, during the Naivasha meeting, people felt this. It was wrongly believed to be federalism. It wasn't even federalism. Even the Bomas draft, it wasn't federalism in the real sense of federalism. It wasn't Majimbo. But that fear was always there. So there was the camp that fought that, and there was the camp, I think that's where Nyang belonged, which on top of wanting regional governments, strong regional governments, also wanted a parliamentary system. It also happened that the same team that didn't want the regional governments also didn't want parliamentary system. So there was some kind of compromise that they had to reach in Naivasha. And that's how the 47 counties were born. It was agreed, and it was generally true that really these 47 counties were not viable. They are too many, they are too small. You can't have 47. What are they really?
So in a sense, it was really a banded solution.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's what we have. Now, again, unfortunately, even if we were to discuss and agree that what we need are regional governments, it will be very difficult to remove county governments. Now, we are almost coming up with very awkward situations. A situation, for example, where people are saying, let's have regional governments but retain counties. You can't have it that way. It's just because they know if you remove counties, then your constitution won't be passed.
Thank you.
The amendments. Right. So really, it requires a lot of discussion in this country.
But the cost implication is what we're asking. If we have the regional governments, then you maintain the counties.
No, that's a fallacy. That's a fallacy.
It's a fallacy.
Which is a fallacy.
Really? Yes.
It's a fallacy. Cost is not there.
Look, we are trying to put the problem, you know, put a problem before another problem. We are talking of creating regional governments, but also we are creating the problem of cost. In other words, you have already imagined in your mind that regional government, you don't even know how many they will be, that they will be more costly. I think that is not a very logical argument. What we need to do is the following. One, at the moment we have counties, and according to the Constitution, resources should follow functions. Counties have certain functions, and they should go get resources according to those functions. But they're not. They're not. You find certain functions like water. You still have bodies like, in our case, South Victoria Water Services Board, which is not necessary. There are a lot of money there which should go direct to the county to do water. Because we have Kisumu Water and Sewerage Services. Every county has something like that, which is handling the thing much more efficiently than these so-called regional water boards, which are funded by the national government. The other thing you have in our region, you have Lake Basin Development Authority, which was started in 1978. There is really no reason why Lake Basin Development Authority, Kerio Valley Development Authority, all these authorities should be existing in the age of devolution. But they existed because somebody realizes that certain things should still be coordinated regionally. The coming up of regional blocks is a recognition of this. I was talking to Ali Roba the other day, because Ali and I have been having very fruitful discussions, Governor Ali Roba Mandela. And he said without the Northern Frontier block, about 5 billion shillings would not have been moved into that area, because you find NGOs from Sweden, Switzerland, and so on would rather deal with the bloc than the counties, because economies of scale are achieved. Now, we already have an experience during this time of devolution that devolved government as they exist now, there are certain things that transcend them at the regional level. All I'm saying, like I said in Kitui, let's copy President Moi's philosophy. Argue from the known to the unknown. Okay. The known is that we have county governments which have realized that they need to be blocks. They have created these blocks, and these blocks have performed very good function. Only that they are not recognized in law.
Yes.
Okay. And President Uhuru Kenyatta, when we were at the devolution conference in Bomet the other time, asked the Minister for Devolution to have a law for this devolved unit. They've been working on that. But I don't think that a law passed by Parliament will be as forceful or as profound as a constitutional provision. You see, because the law can be changed any time. So I think we should look at this thing very rationally, very dispassionately. Going back to Bomas of Kenya, where we had argued between 14 regions and 18 regions, you remember?
Yes.
Yeah? And then that is what was taken to Naivasha. But in Naivasha there was funny deals. I wasn't there myself, among politicians, and they did not only come back with 47 counties, they also came back with a presidential system, which was very embarrassing to some of us. But the time was too late for us to begin engaging in another revision of the Constitution, because the timeline according to that was very tight. So people said, okay, let's pass this Constitution so that we go over this hill, and we shall look at it subsequently, okay? But I think that two things are very important. I'm not saying because I have any personal interest. I'm saying because I have interest for posterity and looking at what is happening in the world with the presidential system, as well as regional governments. Now, in the states, by the way, you have the states, but you have also counties. I live in a state called Illinois when I was in graduate school, but I also live in Cook County. Now, Cook County was a very powerful county because there are certain things that had to originate in Cook County before they go to the state legislature. Within Cook County, you also had cities, like the city of Chicago, which was under my Richard J. Daley. It was a very powerful city government. And the cities in the U.S. still have very strong governments. So devolution goes back that way. So let's not be shy about talking about regional government, because it is some states. And the only thing we have to do, how do we structure it and how do we finance it?
Right. And if I had you right, of course, you alluded to the fact that we have a template right now with the regional blocks as it is right now.